And welcome to the Daily Space Weather, folks. I be your host, smAsho, aka Dan, starting things out looking at a 48-hour video here of the sun in 335 angstroms. We see no sunspots, active region there in the south, and we're going to show you some close-ups of the southern polar region momentarily. We also see some bright spots forming up here around the North Pole area. Other indications that we are ramping up into a new solar cycle. So welcome to Cycle 25, the Neo-Renaissance, and the Daily Space Weather. So there's the 304 angstroms view, 48 hours worth of the activity of the local yellow dwarf in the wavelength of ionized helium. And since the sun is the Rosetta Star of cosmology, we are endeavoring to understand it. One of the ways you can do that is by checking out Solen.info. And they've updated all of their data here on March 1st. So whether you want to compare cycles, that's all there now, as well as the monthly reports on all of the archived data. So check out Solen.info. Next, we're going to look at HelioViewer real quick and look at the fields. And there you see the fields associated with that active region, otherwise known as a plage. And that's the 171 angstroms view and the magnetogram faded. Next, we'll look at some custom videos here of that active region and the South Solar Polar Field region. South Solar Polar Field not looking quite as big as it did yesterday, as we see enduring coronal holes on both the North Pole and South Pole of the Sun throughout its entire cycle. Here's the view of the same area in 304 angstroms. Great view of that active region there. And also we'll look at 171 angstroms, my personal favorite. And we did see some X-ray flaring. I'm not sure if it came out of that active region or not. The data looked a little bit anomalous. We'll get to it in a minute. First, let's look at where objects are in the solar system. There's where things are now. It's 3:11, folks. And there's where things will be in 1 week. Venus slowly catching up to Earth as Mercury swings past. By the way, we're doing a live equinox stream as we do at every seasonal boundary, whether it's an equinox or a solstice. So look for us streaming live on both YouTube and Twitch in 8 days and roughly 19 hours. Here's where stuff is above my head. I'm always interested in that, so I make myself sky charts at in-the-sky.org. We see the moon near its apex, and Mars and I believe Jupiter, there you go, just rising over the horizon. If you've got a low horizon, get an image of that. Maybe we'll feature it on the video. Let's get back to data. There's the KP index, currently at 1. 10.7 centimeter radial flux, still at 71 solar flux units. And we see an X-ray flare coming in here, basically right as I did show prep here. A pretty significant B flare there. That looks like it's about B2 level. Keep in mind this is a magnitudinal scale, folks. And so we see some missing data and then reappearing in a B-class flare. And we're seeing some issues with the X-ray imaging systems too. I'm not going to get super into it, and we're not going to look at cosmic rays today, although we did yesterday. So if you'd like to know the state of cosmic rays, watch yesterday's Daily Space Weather video. Next, we'll check out the real-time solar wind, and we saw the phi angle shifting as I did show prep, as well as the BTBZ, indicating some real shifts. And let's see, that apparent X-ray flare came in right around this time. So it is accompanied by a phi angle shift. It looks like so it might be a real X-ray flare. And we'll consider looking at the X-ray imager later in the day and making another video. Anyway, the BTBZ just shifted at the same time as the phi angle, and the current solar wind density 12.25 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed ramping down to legit solar minimum conditions in terms of velocity, 303 kilometers a second. There's the data from ACE. And there's the last couple minutes refreshed for your viewing pleasure. Next, we'll look at the geospace magnetosphere movies. And if you're not aware of how we ended up making these videos, folks, it took us months to figure out which data we even wanted to look at, and even more months to figure out how to explain it or tie it together to the other data. So if you're bored with the format, sorry about that. It's highly designed. Anyway, since that refreshed, let's let that play all the way through. That 4 hours of data, courtesy University of Michigan. If you want to learn about the Geospace Model V1.5, it's based on the Space Weather Modeling Framework. Just head to this page. It's Geospace Magnetosphere Movies. Scroll down to details, click on that, and you can read all about the Space Weather Modeling Framework. Nothing to really report on as far as geospace goes. Let's look at a little closer to home here. Ground geospace magnetic perturbations. 4 hours of data there. During this geomagnetic excursion, we're not panicking or fear-mongering. We're just reporting on the actual data and science and not making complete asses out of ourselves on the internet, as so many channels on YouTube do on the regs. By the way, we made a cosmology segment video, and it's currently uploaded to BitChute while I shoot this video, just to demonstrate how many views we get over there compared to on YouTube. So there's the 4 hours of data of ground geospace magnetic perturbations, and there's really not a lot to comment on there either. Next, the GOES magnetometers. We see the GOES 15 appears to be offline. And so we're showing some extreme spikiness here again as we keep forecasting day in and day out based on the GONG data. And here is that GONG data. It's the top view ecliptic plane field plot. This data 2 hours and 33 minutes old. Keep in mind the magnetic environment can change with absolutely no warning, and we're going to continue to see spiky data there from the GOES magnetometer, even though the entire current sheet is charged up by the South Pole. So the South Solar Polar Field, shown in red, as it is here, is completely in charge of the current sheet, at least the part on which you live. Please leave a comment if you're viewing from another galaxy, solar system, universe, alien spacecraft outside the ecliptic plane, or whatever. We'll be very interested in your cosmic stance. Anyway, there's a line of sight ecliptic plane, the line of sight field plot showing the B field in blue. And you can see the power of that South Solar Polar Field shown in red. And again, keep in mind the magnetic environment can change with no warning. That's why sunspots just appear. Electrons are at very low levels. There's the GOES electron flux, and it's practically too low to measure there during part of the run. And the GOES 15 looks like it's offline also. So we're not expecting very high levels of electron flux here in the forecast. And let's look at the ionosphere. There's the ionosphere, 6 hours of data. And we'll let that play through for all of you earthquake forecasters, as you may understand the way this relates to earthquake forecasting, and we're not going to get into it in this video. Please leave a comment if you'd like to explain the connections between ionospheric anomalies and earthquakes. Anyway, here's the latest image. That one coming in at 8:45 Universal Time. By the way, thanks to our patrons for being the real source of funding for these videos. We greatly appreciate your support, and this month it was more important than ever, as our basic survival depended on it. So consider becoming a Patreon if you would like to see these videos continue to be publicly released, as we have to consider every day the possibility of pulling all of the content off of places like YouTube, as they try to pay us nothing. So we're also on Subscribestar. Consider that also. The tiers are different. The tiers on Patreon are $1, $9.99 a month, and on Subscribestar, $3 a month. If you enjoy the content on YouTube, please press like and subscribe. Please visit our other sites, such as smAsho.org, and also on BitChute, and also on Twitch. And we will be putting up gaming videos. In fact, we're planning on renting a game server pretty soon, and I am an avid player of enemy territory. Recently raised my rank into the top 700, both in skill and in rank. If you want to follow me there, look up $F &smash space O apostrophe mash, and yeah. So here we are on BitChute. I'm just going to hit refresh, as we've posted another cosmology segment entitled Markland Convection Not Observed, Distant Blazar, and Lyman alpha emissions. Perhaps check that out. And also follow me on Instagram, where you see important posts like this.
All right, everybody. I don't like to brag too much, but hey, I got the goods. All right, that's a genuine article right there. The legit, real deal, Purell.
So if anybody wants to buy 9 ounces of Purell, hit me up. Send me an email. It's smAshomash@gmail.com. We could part with it for only $80 plus shipping. And pardon my dry sense of humor, folks. It's part of my innate nature. Also, follow us on other alt tech such as Minds, the alternative to Facebook, where you won't be shadow banned or censored or deplatformed. And we are pushing 600,000 views real quick, folks. So get over there. The real future of social media does not lie in companies like Facebook, as those companies lie to your face. And their colleagues swear to it. Now, let's look at the pressure maps on windy.com. We're going to let that advance via the GFS forecast. And look at that consistent low pressure system there in the northern Pacific, directly north of Hawaii. It's moving the wrong way. And, yeah, check it out. That is a weird one. So the GFS forecast showing that is going to remain in place for an extended period of time. Looks like it's going to finally start to break up around midday Friday. And here's where things will be at 3 p.m. my time. And if you're wondering where I'm located, it's in eastern Pennsylvania, the Lehigh Valley. Let's look at more data. Next on the list is the earthquake rundown. The past 24 included at least a couple deep quakes here. There's one at Alaska. It's a small 2.6 magnitude, but at over 128 kilometers depth. Once again, nothing over a 6 magnitude quake, folks, it looks like. And the earthquake drought continues, so if you're in a prone zone, especially areas like these, please have an earthquake plan. Please know which buildings may crumble. If you evacuate yours, because we've been seeing deep earthquakes in those regions, and those are starting to look like a predecessor to larger quakes. So deep quake in Argentina, another deep quake in Chile. Western South America have been showing deep quakes for months and months. And we're just going to scroll up the list here. There's another deep quake in the Aleutian Islands. There's a deep quake in Indonesia at a 5.0 magnitude. And thanks to our viewers who follow earthquakes, deep quake in Tajikistan, that 4.3 magnitude at 161 kilometers. And there ends the list of the past 24. And welcome to the Neo-Renaissance, folks. If you haven't checked out smAshomash.org, we've got all kinds of links on there, as well as links to the smAshomash.com/forum. Check that out. We've got all kinds of different segments there, including a 9+ page section on coronavirus. I started reporting on it on January 23rd, where I said, is it dangerous? Not particularly for healthy people. And there's all the information about it. By the way, thanks everybody for signing up for smAshomash.com/forum. We've got well over 200 users now. And we haven't updated it yet today, so if you'd like to put some updates on today, please feel free. Let's talk about economics real quick. I noticed some very odd signals in the market. It looks like money is just moving from one institution to the other, as we saw gold sell off over the weekend, which was an indication to me that the Dow would go up on Monday, which it absolutely did. And so the volatility is at record levels right now, and it looks to me like institutional money keeps going from precious metals back to bonds and back to stocks, as if somebody is intentionally manipulating the market. Now, if you're wondering who's able to do that, organizations like giant banks and fund managers are able to move the markets by doing things like that. Any massive holder of gold, also nation states, if they sell or buy enough gold or silver, they'll move the markets. So when you see bond yields dip as they did, that's an indication money is flowing into bonds. Bonds are one of the weird reverse indicators of the market, folks. And we see all kinds of abnormal market data here, which makes no sense. and does not look like a real crisis, as well as battles between Saudi Arabia, Russia, and the U.S. regarding oil prices. Don't be surprised to see oil prices continue to plunge, possibly all the way down to $20 a barrel. Now, today's Dow futures are estimated to be ready to open 500 points down once again, erasing at least part of yesterday's rally. This article from Zero Hedge, you can go read it yourself, zerohedge.com. Let's look at the graph here, and you can see the yellow graph. This is coronavirus cases outside of China are leveling out. The green graph is quite linear, and the orange graph, the cases in China, is even looking pretty level here. Total cases worldwide, 119,133. Total deaths, 4,285. And is it as deadly as the seasonal flu? I don't really know, but it doesn't look deadlier because it's a pretty basic number. It's how many people die over a year. So let's look at the volcano rundown. It includes, oh, there's an image of Shishaldin, by the way. Mount Aso is producing a 6,000-foot ash plume. Sakurajima exploding, 7,000-foot ash plume there. Dakono exploding, 7,000-foot ash plume there. Slightly elevated seismicity at Shishaldin in the Aleutian Islands. Alert level remains at 2. smAsho Pochnoi, also in the Aleutian Islands. Steam emissions from the North Cerberus crater, the crater named for the mythological three-headed dog that guards the gates of Hades, an appropriate name for a volcanic crater. No eruptive deposits shown on flanks. Popocatépetl exploding, 20,000-foot plume there. Sangay exploding, flight level 19. Revenador exploding, flight level 15,000. And Sabancaya, continuous ash emissions, exploding, producing a 26,000-foot ash plume. Please do not attempt to do a triple backflip over Sabancaya's caldera. And we see some lightning strike as some violent storms are showing up south of Kansas City. We're seeing some sudden cloud nucleation there, and we'll get to it in a minute. First, let's look at the lightning map. And hey, Joplin, there's thunder rolling in from the north. Next time you hear thunder, check out lightningmaps.org. Impress your friends, impress your foes by forecasting when thunder will arrive. Lightningmaps.org. It's good times. Here's the U.S. Doppler radar map, and you see those heavy storms over Kansas, just pushing their way into Missouri right now, as well as some heavy snow around Lake Michigan. Here is the eastern world's jet streams, and we see tripled up jet streams down here in the southern hemisphere, as well as some extreme meridional jet stream flow in the north. Check out that area in the Pacific Ocean, associated with that low pressure system that's hanging around. Here are the western jet streams, and we see doubled up jets, tripled up jets over the Atlantic Ocean, as well as extreme bends. Jet stream moving the wrong way right here off the coast of California. When you see the jet stream going from east to west, that's not normal. And there's the geographic north view, and it is all over the place. Here's the geographic south pole view. Quite meridional jet stream flow in both hemispheres. Next, we'll look at the water vapor maps of Europe and Africa. There are those. Here are the water vapor maps of the Far East and Oceania. And here's the water vapor map of the U.S. And check out this area of extreme cloud nucleation right here. A lot of moisture just showing up there. A lot of water vapor. Sudden cloud nucleation undoubtedly happening. And let's zoom in on that region. And shout out to Missouri. There are storms rolling in from the west. And check out the interaction there. Extremely powerful low pressure system just popping up. And so that's going to be kicking up storms, and it looks like it's going to be moving pretty quickly, so that's some good news. And there's some dry air that's likely going to be pushing this through to the east-southeast. Hey, Smash Team! Thanks for tuning into the video. Please leave a comment. Please share with your friends and your foes. And stay tuned for bonus features as we look at the sun and see 0 sunspots and look at the intensity gram. And there's nothing there associated with that active region. Here's the current magnetogram, and we'll show you a close-up of that plage, former sunspot 2758. And last but not least, it's the 48-hour video of the local yellow dwarf in 94 angstroms. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Remember, stare at the sun. Don't drink, and if you do drink, don't drive. Or better yet, just don't drive, period. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your arteries.